Hello everyone, with our final inductee, I'm Jeff Luzatter here at the Keystone at the Crossing for the 2018 Indiana High School Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and our final candidate is Howard Kellman, voice of the Indianapolis Indians. Howard, I really appreciate you being here. Congratulations on your induction. I know you've had other inductees into other organizations. How does this one kind of rate? Are they all about the same?
Well, sweet Lou, I'm deeply honored. I thank you. It was 2009 Sportscasters and Sports Writers of Indiana Hall of Fame, 2015 Indiana Broadcast Pioneers Hall of Fame. They're all really special. Every one of them. The first one was 9 years ago. Big thrill. So is this one. To be in the company of these gentlemen here today is truly special.
Let's talk a little bit about, long time with the Indians. What is it about the Indianapolis Indians Professional Baseball Club?
I've been there 42 years.
Or 42, excuse me.
Right, 42 years, and I think to stay in one place that long, you have to have great employers. And I've had that in Max Schumacher, Cal Burleson, Randy Lewandowski, Bruce Schumacher, and so many people, Joe Zawacki, a lot of great people, a lot of great employers. And you can like your work, but to like your work and like your employer, well, that's special, and I love both. So I'm very fortunate, and it never gets old. Every day at the ballpark is still a wonderful challenge. One day you'll have a 2-1 game, the next day you'll have a 9-8 game. So broadcasting baseball is, to me, the most wonderful thing I could be doing, living, or a hobby.
Now, I'm being a Cincinnati Reds fan, I know big fan of mine is Marty Brennaman. He's in the prestigious Hall of Fame for the major leagues. And the way things have went with broadcast and everything like that, games are on television all the time. I never see you, but do you ever want to be in front of the camera like some of the major league guys sometimes? Did
Well,
you ever
our
want
games,
to do that?
Sweet Lou, our games are simulcast too. They're shown on TV also.
Right.
There was a period from 2000 to 2009 we televised 10 to 15 games a year on Channel 40. Now we do 4 games a year on Channel 6. But all the home games are simulcast over cable. We were on HTSN for several years too. So I enjoy broadcasting on radio. I also enjoy doing television. They're two completely different situations. Radio is an announcer's medium. Television is a producer and director's medium. So in TV, you're putting captions on pictures. You're not painting the word pictures. They both present their own challenges, and I love them both.
And it's probably made it a lot easier with the way, we mentioned about, I think, one of the better places to play in Victory Field. Minor league ballparks all over the country all have artificial surface, and those 42 years, I'm sure baseball, the way to broadcast some of them has got better with the better playing surfaces that they're playing on, correct?
Well, that's definitely true. The playing surfaces are better, the clubhouses are better, the ballparks are better. The broadcast booths can be good in any ballpark, really. It depends on your vantage point. Victory Field is wonderful, great vantage point. Now, we needed, the Indianapolis Indians 20 plus years ago, needed to leave Busch Stadium. There were a lot of issues. They needed to get to Victory Field, a beautiful downtown facility, and Max Schumacher and others had the vision to get us there. From my perspective as a broadcaster, Busch Stadium was okay because I had a nice vantage point. Victory Field is better, but I didn't have the problems at Busch Stadium, that problems you had on the clubhouses and the fields and things like that. So the way broadcasting has changed is the research you do on the internet before games, which you didn't have to do years ago. But one of the things that I still love so much every day is the preparation. And the preparation of talking to managers, coaches, players before games, and incorporating those comments, be they informative, be they humorous, into the broadcast each night.
Well, I've watched a lot of your games, and I'm a past umpire. I think you do a great job. Have you had to hold yourself up a little bit and think, not to say man, that was a bad call at first or whatever. I mean, you don't do a lot of that.
Well,
you hold yourself up sometime from wanting to say that.
That's a good point, and it's also true about a player making a mistake. If a player misses a cutoff man or makes a base running mistake, I think if you point it out, but don't do it in a condescending manner, and don't get with your tone belligerent, I think people are more understanding. Whether it's an umpire or player, you may say, well, so-and-so may have missed a call, whatever it is, but you're right in that I don't attack anybody, attack an umpire. I remember Durwood Merrill, who went on to umpire in the major leagues for many years, saying to me, it's my second or third year, I introduced myself to him, he said, I know who you are and I know all about you, because we have friends who listen in each city, and anytime you need anything, you come to me, because you treat us professionally. So that's an important part, whether it's a player, coach, or manager, to be professional.
And last question, in your 42 years, I'm sure, traveling around the country to some of these ballparks, you've run into some real special people that have the same passion that you do for the game. I mean, 42 years in the minor, I mean, I'm not knocking that, but you've had to run into some very special people that like the game as well as you do.
Yes, and when you do, it means a great deal. Ernie Harwell, who broadcast for the Tigers for many years, was a mentor to me. And when you mentioned Marty Brenneman earlier, and we were talking about the blizzard of '78, I remember that morning driving him to the airport. He was going to broadcast a basketball game the next day in either Virginia or North Carolina. The Reds had their caravan the night before at the Speedway Motel. I picked him at the motel. He was on the last flight getting out. Nobody moved for 4 days after that. So I met a lot of people over the years, a lot of wonderful people, and you're raising a really good point there, because those are things that stay with you. Now, what means so much to me and to so many others, baseball is about childhood memories. It really is. So when I meet a ball player who played in my childhood, whether it was a man like Jim Fregosi or Clete Boyer and Moose Scour and so many others, and then I mention something, and then they go on and tell me the footnote to the story, well, that's really good. If you have a second, I can tell you a quick one, and that is with Bill Freehan, who was a terrific catcher with the Detroit Tigers. I met him about 10 years ago. He was helping out in Toledo as the Tigers catching coordinator. Toledo's their AAA team. I said, Bill, Hanky, and this is before the designated hitter. The American League instituted the DH in 1973. So in 1967, pitchers were still batting for themselves. Hank Aguirre, who was a former Indianapolis Indian, by the way, was one of the worst hitting pitchers of all time. He was such a bad hitting pitcher that at Tigers Stadium, when he was pitching for the Tigers, when he'd hit a foul ball, fans would applaud. I mean, he was that bad a hitter. So anyway, I'm watching this game in June of 1967, second game of doubleheader, watching on TV in New York at Yankee Stadium. The bases are loaded. Hank Aguirre comes up. The Yankee center fielder was Joe Pepitone. He was half dozing off out there. All of a sudden, Aguirre hits a ball into the gap. Pepitone's like this. It's a triple. And everybody is stunned. Hank Aguirre has hit a bases-loaded triple. Nobody could believe it. Tony Cuccinello is the Tigers' third base coach. And Aguirre says to Cuccinello, "What's the steal sign?" Cuccinello said, "Hank, it took you 15 years to get to third base. Just stay here for a moment."
That's a great story. Great story. Howard, congratulations, a big fan, and we look forward to your speech tonight. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Sweet Lou.
I'm Sweet Lou Jeff Luzatter. Thank you for watching. So long, everyone.